Jai Gurudev. Jai Masters. People get very, very lost in trying to find themselves. What they're really trying to do is be okay. Everyone's trying to be okay. Do it in a worldly manner, do it in a spiritual manner, do it in a relationship manner, do it in a money manner. He's trying to be okay. Not easy to live in this world, and so people struggle to be okay. The problem is they don't pay attention to what okayness is. There's not a spiritual journey and a worldly journey. There's just an understanding that what being okay means is inside. One, you're not struggling, you're not suffering, you're not scared, you're not all these human emotions, jealous, you're insecure, etc., etc., etc. Those things aren't going on inside. Then you're not trying to be okay because you are okay. That's the bottom line of proper spiritual teachings. You're either working on inside being okay, or you're working on outside having stimuli take place that make you feel better. That goes for everything. Nothing wrong with things. Don't hear that they're wrong. But you want relationships because you don't feel love. You don't feel whole. You don't feel important enough. You don't feel special. And so, to compensate for that, we try to have outside situations, not just personal relationships, but business relationships, all kinds of things. You can have a pet relationship. You do have pet relationships. Some of you get along better with your pet than you do with your spouse. Because what you want from the pet is to be excited when you come home. They don't reject you, okay? You want input from outside that makes you feel better inside. It's just, I always teach that. If you don't get that, you're not going to get anything. You're trying to get things outside to make you feel better inside. Fair enough? Is there anything wrong with that? No. There's nothing wrong with it. Well, why do people do it different ways? Because you've had different experiences in the past that made you feel good and made you feel bad based on the outside. Every single one of you had those experiences. You're not stupid. You learned. You learned. Based on your experience, this sort of thing makes me feel good. This sort of thing makes me feel bad. It's obvious. And since we're all different, and we had different experiences, we all view it differently, which is why there's so much commotion, which is why there's so much disharmony. People used to ask me, like in the 70s and 80s, like, why is there so much war? I don't understand why there's not more. None of you get along. You can't even get along with your children. You can't get along with your spouse. You can't get along with your teacher. You can't get along with your boss. Right or wrong? I mean, sometimes you do, but most of the time you don't. You can get along with your co-workers, the driver in front of you. You don't get along at all with that person. You get along with the government. You get along. I don't understand. A big deal of the government. You don't get along with anybody. The only way you get along with people is if you can manipulate them enough to have control. That's why we have control issues. You try to control the outside environment so that you can have some say over what it feels like when it comes in. And on what basis you try to control it. What I've learned. Man is a sum of his learned experiences. You're not. You're the consciousness that's aware of that. But it is true that your psyche, your thoughts, your emotions, your preferences, your hopes, your dreams, your concepts, your views, all that stuff are the sum of your learned experiences. You were not born with them. You picked them up. You picked them up as you went through your life. Childhood has a major effect, just like psychology. Psychology's right. You're the sum of your learned experiences. At least your mind, your thoughts, and your emotions are the sum of your learned experiences. Something could happen tomorrow that made it so that what turns you on today turns you off. Something happens tomorrow that makes it so what turns you off today turns you on. All it takes is a smile. All it takes is a look. All it takes is anything. Some of the learned experiences. Do you understand that? Please understand that. If you want to live in this life and have a beautiful life, you have to understand the foundation of what's going on. So your mind and your emotions have been programmed based upon your past experiences. Nothing you can do about it. That's what happens. And now you have preferences. Now you have likes and dislikes. What do you like? That which, if it happens, makes me feel well. What do you not like? That which, if it happens, makes me feel bad. So that is the foundation of the beginning of what Buddha calls right understanding. You don't care about the outside. I'll be very strong with you. You don't care about the outside. You care about the effect it has inside. You live inside, don't you? You live inside. You're in here. You got to put up with it in here. If the outside makes in here feel better, you like it. You don't like the outside. You like how the outside makes the inside feel. If you stand in front of a museum picture, a photo, a painting, all right, and it makes you feel yicky, some type of art that'll go well with you, all right, you don't like the painting. No, it's not true you don't like the painting. You don't like how the painting made you feel. If you stand there and all of a sudden, oh my God, it blisses out inside, I just love this painting. No, you don't. You love the experience of joy and bliss that happened inside because you're standing in front of the painting. If you're standing in front of that painting and it's a beautiful Renoir or Monet and it's unbelievable, it's a priceless piece of art in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and you're standing there and it's blissing you out, and all of a sudden police come in, they sit there and say, excuse me, this is a fraud. It's a fake. How you feel? The painting didn't change. You understand that? But it had a different effect on you now that man is the sum of his learned experiences, right? You learn that one experience, and all of a sudden, it don't feel so good, does it? It's the same painting. All right? So you understand once and for all, I can't belabor the point enough, you don't care about the outside. You care about how it makes you feel your inside. And you do that with your relationships all the time. It's embarrassing to talk about. If you stand in the presence of this person and it turns you on and you feel love, you feel attraction, you feel passion, etc., you love them. You do not. You love the way it makes you feel in their presence. I assure you, if the next time you see them it makes you feel yicky, you're not so sure about the relationship anymore. And if 2 or 3 times it happens, forget it. You don't love the person. You love love. You love what it feels like. You love passion. You love joy. And if an outside situation can stimulate that, then you project that onto the outside situation. Have you ever thought of that? Do you understand that? You're not going to get anywheres in your life by not understanding that, because you're going to start chasing outer experiences to try to get the inner experience. I don't mean start. You will continue. And you don't even know what you want. Anybody have trouble making decisions? Does anybody ever have trouble making decisions? Okay? Sometimes you give talk on decision making. You don't want to be there for that talk. The reason you are having trouble making a decision, no matter what it is you are trying to figure out how it will make you feel. Should I move to New York? Should I stay here? Should I get married? Should I wait? Should I take a gap year? Should I get a job right away? All these life-changing, they're nothing. All you're trying to do, like putting on clothes. You put on the clothes and you turn around in the mirror. Why? To see how it feels. You already know whether they fit or not. You already know whether they're appropriate for the weather. You don't care. You go to your little 16-sided mirror, turn around in there, and it makes you feel fat or yicky or it doesn't matter. You don't like the color. You don't want it. You don't care about the clothes. You don't care about the people. What you care about is the inner experience that happens inside of you because this event is unfolding in front of you. And it goes both from the positive and the negative. There's no difference. Please understand. Well, what's wrong with that? Nothing's wrong with it. Nothing's wrong with anything. The question is, does it work? It's not that it's wrong. It doesn't work. Why? You change. It changes. If you're the sum of your learned experiences, you better stop having experiences. You better get that relationship and go to lunch together, start work at the same place, because some of them have an experience you didn't have. Next thing you know, it's not working so good. Okay? And it just wake up. It can't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It goes for your job, it goes for your relationships, it goes for every single thing. I told you once, I went through a whole dissertation, a doctorate in economics, way long ago. And one of the things they taught you, I always liked it, that they taught this. It's called the law of diminishing returns. Okay? They taught you that in economics, right? What is that? What do they teach you? That the utility of something diminishes the more you experience it. Those are technical terms. All right? The utility of something diminishes the more you experience it. Is that true or not? Who has ever noticed that? The 16,000th kiss is not the same as the first one. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just true. It's true. Have a meal that you love, a favorite meal. I always tell you that, bro. I'm going to bring the chef in that cooks the finest meal you ever had. Wow. I guarantee it'll blow you away, all right? You want it tomorrow night? Sure. You want it the next night? Sure. You want it breakfast, lunch, and dinner? 3 nights in a row? No. Give me some cabbage. Brussels sprouts, all right? Right or wrong. There's no way it is going to have the same effect on you the 10th time you had it as it did the first. Is there? Who's going to admit that? That goes for everything. There is a law of diminishing returns. What they didn't teach us in economics, but you figure it out if you work on yourself, is why. Why does that happen? Would you like to know why? Here's the why. And by the way, it doesn't have to happen. A very high being, it's not true. There's no law of diminishing returns. That's why it's important to understand, why does that happen? You're inside yourself. That's where you live. And you're receiving your thoughts and your emotions, your energy flow, the body. You live in there receiving this stuff. It is not always, and I'm being nice, it is not always pleasant in there, is it? It is not always pleasant in there. There are negative thoughts, there are problems, there's body aches, there's heartaches, there's fears and anxieties. It's not always that much fun in there. If something happens that is new and it distracts you from yourself, what does that mean? It distracts your consciousness so it is not absorbed in the part that is not so fun. So you go out on a boating trip, you go for a vacation, you have a new relationship, okay? And it distracts you. The first time it happens, it really distracts you, and you're pulled away. That's why you felt better inside, because consciousness was distracted from the junk that you're built inside yourself. You get distracted from yourself. How's that? Okay? If you go to a movie and it distracts you for 2 hours, sitting in that theater, or before your TV nowadays, and it distracts you, you say, it's a great movie, I enjoy it, oh my God, I want to see it again. If you sit there in the theater and you're aware that there's 2 strangers sitting next to you and it's a little bit humid and you just don't know what to do with yourself because the movie's so freaking boring, what does it mean boring? It didn't distract me. It did not distract my consciousness and take it off of my thoughts and my emotions and pull it into the movie. I love the word distraction. I'm using it more and more lately. Why? It's a very spiritual word. Who got distracted? Your consciousness got distracted. If you're really absorbed in that movie, there's no mind. During that time, there's nothing thinking about it. There's no mind. Thinking about the mortgage or this or that, and the girlfriend or boyfriend. It pulled your consciousness off of yourself onto something else. And generally, that's more fun than just sitting there. If you go on a vacation, right, and all you do is hear your mind complaining about what happened at home, why'd you bother going? You wanted to distract you from what was going on. The trouble is, things that you get used to are not distracting anymore. Both positive and negative. You get used to the experience, so it doesn't distract you. That's why there's a law of diminishing returns. It's neat to talk honestly, isn't it? Guess what? You better listen to this, because this is what determines the quality of your life. Otherwise, you're going to go running around like everybody else and try to get, first of all, you're going to try to think, what is it I want? Because you don't know. It's like, I think this will make me happy. I think this will be better. Notice I think. I don't know. I think. Then I got to think, how do I get it? Then I got to think, how do I keep it? Then I have to deal with the fact that I don't want it anymore. That's what it's like to live in there. It's natural. Of course it's going to be that way. If you're not okay inside, you're going to try and have things happen that make you better. So you try to figure out what that will be. You know what depression means? I can't figure out anything. It's just, I'm looking in here and I can't even think of anything that I think will make me feel better. That's pretty depressing, isn't it? I've given up hope. Hope that what? That there is something that will make me feel better. Wow. Let's just take a breath. You want to live your life like that? Because I don't want you to live your life like that. And you don't have to live your life like that. But you have to wake up. You have to be aware, conscious, to watch what's going on. So now we understand, I'm okay inside. I'm trying to have things happen, try to figure out what will happen that make me feel better, and I try to make it happen. Then I try to keep it, but then I don't even want it as much because it doesn't keep having the same effect. So I'm running all the time. Are you running all the time? I'm sprinting. It's like I'm out of breath. Why? Why? Why do you need a vacation? People don't like when I talk like this. Why do you need a vacation? A great being there's no vacation. What's a vacation? You need a vacation from yourself. You need a vacation from. In other words, you need a vacation because it's new and it will distract you from yourself. And if it doesn't do that, it was a very bad vacation. And if it does that, oh my God, we had the best time. All right? So all of these things that we take for natural, if you went to work and you loved what you were doing, the word vacation doesn't mean anything to you. You don't get tired. You don't get tired of doing something that energizes you, that draws your attention, and you put your whole being into it. I told you once, someday you will be able to stand in front of me and say, oh, now I understand. What? When you go to work, it is so exciting, it is so passionate, it is so unbelievable that you're shocked that they actually pay you to go there. I'm not kidding. It almost seems like you should be paying them. But that's not the experience, is it? The experience is, I'm not okay. This used to turn me out a little bit, but now it's boring. The other person got the corner office. You build all this stuff so that when you go to work, you really don't want to be there. I don't want any place I'd rather be. And the job is repetitive. Whatever the heck it is, okay? So now you better pay me. You better pay me to compensate for the fact that I'm not okay coming here. You don't have to live like that. I don't want you to live like that. I want you to understand there is a whole nother life for you that is not that, because that will never stop. Check your parents, check your grandparents. It just basically keeps being, how do I be okay? How do I be okay? Why can't things be the way I want so I can be okay? So the alternative is you finally stop and you ask, I always get here, you ask the real question, not what do I do to feel better? Why am I not okay? That's the real question. Why am I not okay? Why is my starting position, I'm lonely, I'm not okay, I'm insecure, I'm scared, I'm stressed, I'm anxious. Why? Why is it like that? It's not about renunciation. You're not renouncing anything outside. Nothing's right or wrong. It's just it doesn't work. Okay? What does work? To come inside, I'm in here, and not freak out in here. You got to be able to get what we call being centered. What does it mean to be centered? I am conscious, aware of what is going on in here. I'm not lost in it, and I'm not so lost in it that I'm really not even lost in it. I'm lost in the outside to try and manipulate everything to make it so it's better inside. Now you're way out there. And why? Because I can't live in here with myself. It's not comfortable enough. I need to do things and make things happen so that I can breathe, so that I can be okay. Well, what happens if there is nothing going on outside? Why do we call solitary confinement? I did 3 years in prison work, maximum security prisons. The punishment they give to the gentlemen that I would visit when they were misbehaving is they would put them in solitary confinement. That's considered one of the greatest punishments that you can give to a human being. Yogis do it on purpose. They go up to the caves. They have beautiful experiences. Okay? Why is solitary confinement a punishment? Because there's no distraction. Isn't that far out? There's nothing to distract you from yourself. And that's not fun, is it? Why? Because it's not okay in there. So basically, yoga, spirituality, the whole gambit does not say there's anything wrong. A real teacher, a real teaching do not say there's anything wrong with the outside. Whatever, you tell me all kinds of stuff you do. I'm not going to judge it. You're trying to survive. You're drowning and you're trying to stay above the water. So you do this, you do that, you do that. People do all kinds of things, don't they? All right? Some are socially acceptable, some are not socially acceptable. A person who has gone past that, and we'll talk about that, they look upon it with compassion. They don't judge. You're suffering. Okay? Suffering's a big word. You think suffering means a broken arm or your heart is broken. No, you're suffering. You're very busy trying to be okay. Someday you understand that's suffering. Why? Because you can be okay. You can be so okay that's not happening anymore. You can be okay from the moment you wake up in the morning to go to bed at night, and even during your dreams, no matter what happens during the day. Period. How would you like that? Now you're coming out here not to be okay. You're coming out to express the beauty that you feel inside. What a difference. I'm not out there taking, needing. I'm out there giving. And I don't think I'm giving. I'm just emanating this beautiful energy, and because I feel love, I feel joy. I don't have any need. That's where I want you to go. That's what spirituality is. That is what you're capable of. Every single one of you, no matter what you've ever done, no matter who you are, it doesn't make any difference in any way, shape, or form. It's just a question of, are you going to stay outside trying to compensate for what's wrong inside, or are you going to fix what's wrong inside? That is the essence. They talk about paradigm shifts. I used to think I wanted to get married. Now I shifted my thoughts. I want to travel. No, those are not paradigm shifts. Those are just other ways to try to be okay. You're still doing the exact same thing. You're trying to use the outside to compensate for what's wrong inside. The paradigm shift is when you're willing to say, why am I not okay inside? Why do I need to compensate and manipulate and control the outside in order to be okay? I'm in here. Why can't I be okay in here? Can you answer that? Yes, you can answer that. Why, you live in there. So we started with being centered. The first step is you are conscious. Do you know you're conscious? Are you aware? Anybody in there? Anybody home? Okay. Every single person's home. There's somebody in there. We know that. And you know it intuitively. You don't have to prove it in those scientific experiments. That's so funny. I think you're right. I think you're in there. I think you're wrong. You're not. You realize you're in there. Can you be in there? Here. Whew. You live out here too, right? You see the outside. Are you capable of seeing the outside and not freaking out? Most of the time. Almost all the time. Right? You see people, places, things, trees. What does that mean? I just see them. I experience them. They come in and I experience them. Can you do that inside? Believe it or not, the answer for most people is no. I cannot just sit in here and not do anything. Well, what do you mean not do anything? Can you sit in there and see your thoughts? You do see your thoughts, don't you? How do you know you have them? Unless you see them. You are the observer of your thoughts, are you not? I'm not talking about witness consciousness. I'm just saying you are aware of your thought. Do you have thought? I forgot. I asked, are you in there? You said yes. Do you have these things called thoughts? Anybody know anything about that? Do you have these things called emotions? How do you know? Because you're conscious. Is it the same consciousness that feels good emotions and bad emotions? It's the same you. There's only one you in there. You're watching your thoughts, you're feeling your emotions, and you're receiving your senses. And you're feeling your body. That's you. That they call it the soul, the essence, the Atman, right? I call it you. It's you. All right? You know who else called it you? Christ. The kingdom is within you. Whoa. He wasn't talking about in your stomach. It's within you. You who's in there, you're it. You're the highest thing that exists in the universe. You who's in there. The problem is you can't sit in there and just be you in there, experiencing your thoughts, experiencing your emotions, and experiencing what's coming in through your senses. But you just told me that you do experience your thoughts, you do experience your emotions, and you do experience what comes in your senses. Yeah, this is how you experience them. You jump into them completely the moment they happen, you're gone. You've got to do something about them. The thought says, oh my God, what did he mean by that? Goodbye. Oh my God, do I want to stay or go? Goodbye. You know, they're not just thoughts. They're things that pull you into them so you're no longer aware of your thought. You're busy being the thought. But you're not the thought, okay? You're the one who experiences the thought. But they have power over you, don't they? This is foundational stuff. Those thoughts are like magnets. They pull you into them. And the next thing you know, in a sense, you're not there. You're there, but you're lost in the thought. You identify completely with the thought. Everything you're doing, everything you're feeling is all involved in the fact that you had this thought. I wonder if he really loves me. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Okay? Now it's about how do I find out? Oh my God, what if he doesn't? Your heart starts to hurt. Well, what if I start to look and he really didn't? Then I get in trouble. He's like, oh boy, have a fun trip. Why do you think we call them a train of thoughts? Train. Get on, go for a ride. Okay? And your thoughts cause your emotions to come up, and your emotions cause your thoughts to come up. That's the ultimate conspiracy between your heart and your mind. And you're gone. You spend almost all your time gone. You don't know it until you come back. That's what meditation does. That's what mantra does. That's what the spiritual techniques do, is they help you to center, to stay, how we call it, stay centered. What does that mean, centered? Stay in your consciousness so that you're the one who notices the thought. What does it mean to be centered? Okay, here goes. Here's the thought. What if he doesn't love me? Okay, what's the next thought? Come on, bring the next one. It just went by like a raindrop or like the clouds. You didn't have to do anything with that thought. You didn't have to do anything with that thought. It just came and it went. Okay? So you sit there and say, I wonder where he is. Why doesn't he show up? He said he'd show up. He probably forgot me. Watch this, because this happens all the time to you and you won't pay attention. He probably doesn't love me. What am I going to do? And all of a sudden, he comes to the door with a beautiful bouquet of flowers. It's our 3.5-week anniversary. How you doing? You don't even make your mind pay a price for what it did to you. If somebody did that to you, you won't talk to them ever again. Why'd you mess up my whole thing for an hour? When somebody's out there bringing me flowers and loves me and proves it, but that's not what you said, and you caused me all this angst and anxiety. You just oh, goody, and you'll do it again. That thing just talks, and it pulls you into it, and your emotions get involved, and then if something happens, if it just, okay. When was the last time I said I was sorry I bothered you so much? Never. It's so funny. Why do we tolerate this? And so you're going to find out what centered means is, I'm in here, the thoughts are in here, they're not, don't you dare think you're supposed to be stopping your thoughts. You're not supposed to fight with your thoughts. You're not supposed to struggle with your thoughts. You're not supposed to stop your thoughts. You're supposed to be aware of them. You're supposed to be aware of them. They're just things. They're like wind. They're like clouds. They come in and they pass through. They come in and they pass through. You don't have to go with them. You can just say, hi, bye. And there it is. And what you're going to find out is the vast majority, probably 95% of the time, you were better off letting it go. But what if he doesn't love me? You'll find out. Okay? He'll show up at the door saying, all right, we had it. Sorry. Okay, you deal with it then. But why deal with it for days before and hours before when you don't even know if it's true? Why are you doing that? Because you can't handle yourself. You've had bad experiences that were uncomfortable to you, and you're afraid they're going to happen again. And so all this stuff, you try to protect yourself. You're trying to defend yourself. You're trying to make sure you don't get hurt. It's all the thing about it. I have to have things be the way I want. So the thoughts have to go a mile a minute to try and help you. I'll help you figure out how to be happy. If they would shut up, you'd be totally happy. I'll tell you right now, you go into a state where you're centered in your own being, in the consciousness, and you're able to let the thoughts go by, and you're going to find out, it's really nice back here. Your consciousness, your seat of consciousness is not neutral. One of the words in the yoga tradition for your being is Satchidananda, eternal conscious ecstasy. And those are not just words. I am telling you, the more you hang out in your seat of consciousness, instead of in what distracts you from your seat, the more you will feel this joy for no reason. Just joy welling up inside of you, rush to holy waters, just rushing up all the time, just rushing up inside of you, feeding you, and you're leaving that to worry about how you can get that. You'll never get that outside. You're leaving that to worry about how you can get a drop, just a little taste, I'm so thirsty, compared to being fed from inside. Again, who said that? Who taught you that? I tell you all the time, I'm a nice Jewish yogi. I only read the Bible once in 1971, and I just Christ's teachings, they're it. Christ's teachings is the highest thing it possibly be. I just told you that when you come back into your seat and stay there, when you're able to stay there reasonably, you will realize there's joy back there. You don't have to go out and do anything. It's welling up inside of you. What did he say? Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. Oh, you're not eating from outside only. You're not talking about bread. You're talking about your food of life. You're not just taking it from outside. It happens inside of you. It wells up inside of you. Well, why don't I feel it? Because you're leaving your center to get involved in the thoughts, to get involved in your emotions. And there's nothing wrong with the world, except that you've decided it has to be a certain way for you to be okay. So you now think there's something a lot wrong with the world. Because it's not being the way you want. It's causing you pain. It's causing you suffer. It's causing you anxiety. It is not doing that. It is just unfolding. It's been here for 13.8 billion years. Earth's been here for 4.5 billion. How long are you going to be here? The world has nothing to do with you. It's been here way before you came here. Is it not happening everywhere as you're not? Is it only happening right in front of you? Or it's happening everywhere equally. And you're making this big deal out of what you happen to see. Why? Because I'm not okay. I told you, because I'm not okay, and I need what's in front of me to be the way I need it to be so that I am okay, so I feel better. So that's why you can't stay in the seat of self. It's perfectly reasonable, because you're being completely distracted by your thoughts that are trying to help you. Here's a depressed person's thoughts, right? I can't handle it. I can't handle being around people. It makes me so uncomfortable. I don't want to be around people. That's a real good solution, but that's what it says, doesn't it? It says that. It says, well, she says she loves me, but everyone's told me to love me before, and it really hurt me. No, I don't want to do this again. That's really wonderful. It's really helping you tremendously. The advice it's giving you, it should be arrested. It's destroying your life, and you're listening to it as if it's your guru. This is the beginning and end of all wisdom and knowledge. It's telling me how to be okay. It is not. It's the reason you're not okay. You who's looking at that are way beyond okay. You're a beautiful being. You're the highest thing to walk the face of the earth. But you're being pulled into the garbage of your personal mind and your personal heart in the name of making the world be a way that I can be okay. I don't know. Did I say it? Can anybody hear it? Somebody once asked Mayor Baba, great, totally enlightened avatar, great being. I said, because he's sitting there and he's in samadhis and it's great. You just feel he's in a state of complete ecstasy. I said, Baba, what do you feel? He was in silence. He'd write on a chalkboard. He said, I simultaneously feel overwhelming ecstasy and tremendous pain. And they asked him, well, Baba, why do you feel pain? You're an enlightened being. He said, I feel the ecstasy because I'm seated with God, and I feel the pain because of the pseudo-spiritual teachings that take place on this plane. Whoa, that's a mouthful. In other words, it's enough that you're lost out there trying to get what you want. But every once in a while you wake up and you turn to God. You turn to something that might be higher. And what you're fed are pseudo-spiritual teachings. Do this and you'll be okay. Don't do that and do that. And don't eat this food and eat that food and be careful and undo your sins. And that's not what's going on, right? The teaching is you're the highest being to walk the face of the earth, but you're looking at something that's not. How about we start paying attention to the self that's looking instead of what you're looking at? It's all over. It's that easy. It's that strong, all right? But instead you're taught to make the outside be a certain way for you to be okay. All right, so the whole key is, are you willing to grow spiritually, or do you want to use spirituality to attract to yourself what you want? There's the case with pseudo-spiritual teachings. You want to be okay? Attract a husband, attract a wife, attract a house, attract abundance. Just do mantras, do things right, and it'll be added to you and attracted to you. That's what the Bible says. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added unto you. It doesn't say decide what you want and make sure that God gives it to you. So this whole thing of do good so you can get what you want, it's good, it's fine. It's better than doing bad, hurting people, okay? It has nothing to do with spirituality. Why? Spirituality is about realizing you don't need anything. You're whole and complete within yourself. You're the highest thing on the face of the earth. But you're being distracted by this garbage that you built inside yourself. So if all of a sudden you see the garbage and I don't feel good, and my neighbor's got a nicer house than me and I don't feel good about it when I come home, and you say the answer is to do mantras, Om Shri House, what are you doing? I'm attracting to myself what I want so that I can stay caught inside myself. No, the answer is as follows. You are the highest thing to walk the face of the earth. If you're not experiencing it, it's because you're not looking at yourself. You're looking outside yourself. Not just the outside world. You're looking at your thoughts and your emotions. Someday you're going to see you are so far up here away from your thoughts and your emotions. You're back here looking down. You're back here looking at the thoughts that are flowing through your mind and the emotions that are happening through your heart. If I ask you, let's say your boyfriend or girlfriend left and your heart is hurting, I ask you, where do you feel it? You feel it in your ear? In your foot? You point right to your heart because you're looking down there with the source of the emotions. And when you have a problem with your mind, you say, oh my God, my mind's driving me crazy. You don't say, oh, my mind's driving me crazy. Grab your foot. You are in there and you have a sense of direction. It's beautiful. You have perspective. So your mind is there, your heart is there, the world is out there, isn't it? Where are you? If I look at that picture, I'm not the picture, but I can get sucked into it where I lose myself. But if I don't, I'm here looking at the picture. You're back here looking at your mind. The trouble is it is so strong that it pulls you into it and you identify with it and you can't keep your separation. It's called transcendence. And that's your center. That's what I mean by center. So how do you go about doing the deeper life? The one that actually works. We don't have to keep working and sweating and struggling to try and be okay, to one where you are okay. I want to make sure you get this. There's a big difference between something happening conditionally that made you feel okay and you being unconditionally okay. You come out here unconditionally okay. Don't you ever sell yourself short. You're already there, by the way. You're already in a state of complete well-being. Well, why don't I feel it? Because you're looking out. You're looking down at your psyche. You're looking down at the thoughts that say, I'm not okay. You who's in ecstasy are looking at a thought that says, I'll never be happy. Of course, if you look at that thought, you're going to identify with that. You hear me? Please. You are already there. You're the greatest thing to walk the face of the earth. So what do? You have to learn to maintain your center. How? Now you're talking about the real growth. You start working with yourself inside. What does that mean? You start noticing. You don't need me to teach you. You start noticing that there are things that happen outside that make your inside get weird, and then you get sucked into them. Have you noticed? You better, because it happens thousands of times a day. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be the weather. It could be the driver in front of you. It could be the fact that somebody didn't say hello when they walked by. Or somebody did say hello, but you were walking with somebody else and you wish the other person didn't say hello. There's all these conditions constantly. Okay, so basically, how do you work on yourself? My experience is that first, maintain a reasonable center. Meditation helps. My new book, Living Untethered, goes through these techniques. Meditation is wonderful. Mantra is wonderful. Mantra is not weird. Mantra is sitting there saying, if I can get my mind to say something over and over again that's anywhere from neutral to positive, and it's just like a song gets caught in your mind. You can't get it out. I want the mantra caught in your mind. It's in a layer of your mind. The other mind will still go on, but all of a sudden something happens and it starts pulling you into it, and back there you hear your mantra. And you have a choice now. You never had a choice before. Do I let my consciousness go down into the personal mind, or do I lean back into the mantra? That's how powerful mantra is. And the more you do it, the more you realize, wow, am I glad I learned to do that. It's like learning to eat right. Okay? You're learning to have a set of thoughts go on in there. How do I get a mantra going on in there? Repetition, just like piano playing. And you want a good mantra? Ready? I can handle this. Can you imagine if it was going on inside your mind all the time, in the back of your mind? You know you have layers of mind, don't you? Things go on in the back of your mind all the time, all right? In the back of your mind, I can handle this, I can handle this, I can handle this. All of a sudden, somebody walks by without saying hello. And you start to feel that anxiety, right? And it says, I can handle this. Whoa, I would love that to happen inside your mind. I can handle this. Then what do? You handle it. How? You handle it by letting go. You handle it by not touching it. If you don't touch it, it's going to pass right through. Somebody didn't say hello. A friend walked by. And I thought they're my friend. And starts doing this stuff, right? I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. Because the alternative is I can't handle this, and it's going to stay stuck inside of you and ruin your relationship with your friend. There's no reason not to be able to handle something that happened. And so you just say, I can handle this. Now, what I have found is when that happens and you try to get your distance, I can handle this, it's going to be pulling you in. Some of you don't understand. You're not supposed to struggle. When that energy is pulling you down, you know what I'm talking about? Pulling you down into it? No, the highest state is not to struggle with it, to fight with it, to make it go away. The highest state is to let go. If there's tension, tension means there's two forces. One pulling in one direction, the other pulling in another. You know what tension is? Put tension on the string, tension on an I-beam. There's tension. There's two opposing forces. Yes, that thing that came in and is disturbing you and pulling you into it, that's a force. But there has to be another force. Guess what the other force is? You holding on. Saying, I can't handle this. What? The thing I'm holding on to. How about we let it go? How about we learn to relax behind it? Not protect ourselves. Just relax behind it. Don't touch it. And let it pass. Let it pass. That's what letting go means. Relax and release. Letting go. Surrender. They're all the same thing. They are an inner state of non-resistance. And that's the highest path you can take. I'm in here. I've got stuff in here. We all do. What happened out there just hit my stuff. And it's activated. And it's pulling me into it. I'm feeling anger or jealousy or insecurity or embarrassment. And it's just like, okay? What can I do about that? I'm telling you, you can't make it not be there. You understand that? If it hits your stuff and you have that stuff in there and something outside hit it just right, it's coming back up. That's not your job to make it not be in there. Your job is to say, I want to let this go. I don't want it in there tomorrow. So I'm going to let a little piece of it go today. How? By not touching it. By not going down into it. By relaxing. I say, and a lot of people say they don't understand. And I do it all the time. First step, relax. They say, but it won't relax. I didn't tell it to relax. I told you to relax. See the difference? That thing that came up, that emotion, that thought, it's not going to relax. Its nature is to be upset. That's what it's feeling. That's what it is. You don't deny that. You don't hide that. You don't fight with that. You've got this going on in there. Do I have to go down in there? No. You relax, not it relax. Can you relax in the face of that going on inside of you? And at first you can't. So you start with the small things first. The weather, the car in front of you. I always talk about that. You can handle the driver in front of you is not driving the way you want to drive. You can handle that the light turned red and you didn't want to stop. You can handle that the guy's driving the way you don't want to and you can't pass. You keep pulling out. You can handle that if you want to. You don't have to get uptight just because a part of you got uptight. So that part is just a nature. It's a nature to get a little angry, to get a little scared, that's whatever it is. It's how you deal with it that determines how long that stays inside of you. So when I say relax, I mean you relax. The consciousness. From your seat of consciousness, this thing's pulling down, let go, relax. You have hands in there. They tend to fight in there and struggle with things. Learn not to. Learn to relax instead. I say relax and release. Now you understand? You relax and let it release. You relax and let it release. It doesn't mean that it won't come back tomorrow. It will be less. Every single time you let go, two things happen. There's less of it in there because you let it go. And two, you become more capable of letting go. You practice your piano, you get better at it. You practice letting go, you get better at it. Don't worry about the big stuff. Just whatever small it is, I don't care. You went to lunch and the order size, the portion wasn't as big as you thought it would be, or it's bigger than you wanted it to be, or it's not hot as you wanted it to be, or the waiter served from the wrong side, or whatever, or the fork's too small, or the spoon's too big. Can you handle that? You laugh because you know you like that. We all are. We're all that picky because we're not okay, and we want things to happen that make us be okay, which is very, very narrow, and the world never unfolds like that. So instead, you look at that and you say, can I handle it? The spoon is big, or do I have to complain? Have fun with yourself. Play. It comes up, doesn't it? The judgment comes up. Make it a practice of your life every day to relax through those little things. There's no benefit to get uptight about the size of the spoon or the driver in front of you didn't put his blinker on, keeps stepping on his brakes. Okay, so go a little further back. You don't have to give in to the junk that came up. And this is called practice. It's a practice session. It's like practicing the piano. I swear to God, you're practicing being okay. You're practicing going back to the deeper part of your being that this stuff tends to pull you out of. So I dare you, I beg you, relax. Through what? All of it. Do it with the little ones, you'll be able to do it with the bigger ones because you get used to it. It's like lifting weight. If you can only lift 100 pounds, you can't lift any more, try 100.01. I guarantee you can do it. And the next day you do 0.02, 0.05. I don't care how long it takes. Just keep working with it. Keep working with it. And two things happen. One, there'll be less of the stuff because you let some of it go. And two, you got better at it. And between those two things, it will change your life. There's no reason you can't do this. This is not hard. How can it be hard? I want you to make it fun. I want you to make it a video game. You got a built-in video game, right? Well, on the video games, you go to levels, don't you? So does this. You make it through that level, the next thing you're at another level. And at some point, you're going to start to feel this joy. I guarantee you. People write me, oh my God, just all of a sudden I look at a leaf on a plant and I just felt all this joy and love and everything has changed. Of course it has. It's not that it changed. It's that you're not looking down at it anymore. And because you're not looking down at it, you're not struggling with it. When you struggle with it, it makes it stay. You're giving it your energy. Yukteswar, Yogananda's guru, like these great masters, they give these one-liners. It takes me an hour. They give one-liner. He said, an ignored guest quickly leaves. I have grown into that statement for years and years before I fully understand what it meant. If you fight with it, it stays. If you run away from it, it stays. It runs after you. An ignored guest quickly leaves. They just get bored. Same thing with your mind. Same thing with the junk inside your heart. You just relax through it, and it will cleanse by itself. That is your whole path. You don't understand this. Does your body have an immune system? What do you do to make that immune system happen? How do you decide that there's bacteria or virus in there and then make more white blood cells and have them go out there and attack? What are you doing? Tell me right now. How much do you do? Zero. Your body is thick compared to your mind and your emotions. They're a much higher vibration rate. If your body has a system like that to cleanse the garbage that can get in there, I'm telling you, your mind and your heart are trying to purify the junk that you stored in there, the crust that you built in there because you couldn't handle things. They're trying to push it out. That's why your mind makes so much noise. That's why your heart always feels like that. It's trying to push the junk out. What do? Push it back down. A yogi, a yogini, a spiritual being, an aspirant does not do that. They say thank you. They say thank you to the worst you can be, mind. Fine. Hit me with it. Hit me with the worst you got. Hit me with your best stuff. I don't want it in there. I will relax my way through it, whatever it is, and I'll just keep letting it go to the best of my ability. And if I can't, I fall down. I just go right back up. That's the work of my life. And I'm telling you, if you will do that over time, there will be this joy. Why? Because that's what's under there. Just like if you eat properly, there will be health. If you stop smoking, there will be health. It's just if you stop putting poison in there, its natural state is healthy. Pretty much. Okay, 99% of the time, the bodies are healthy if you take the whole group of everything, right? That always has been. It's the same thing with your mind and your emotions. They are healthy. There's love in there. There's beauty in there. There's inspiration. There's intellectual thought. The mind is brilliant. Your mind is beautiful. You're not trying to get rid of your mind. You're trying to get rid of the junk you stored in your mind because you couldn't handle life. It's called suppression, repression, resistance. Freud talked about it. How do you do that? The energy is underneath. A yogi, someone who's practiced for years, knows that. The energy is always trying to push up. It's always trying to push up. You're in the way. And you push everything away. You push everything right back on top of it. Learn to relax and let go. Relax and let go. And at some point you will feel that energy. And once you start to feel the energy, that's very inspiring. Say, oh my God, this works. And so you keep letting go, and then more energy flows. And then more energy flows. And then more energy flows. Someone once asked Yogananda, how much energy is there? He said, well, how much energy is God? How much energy is the whole universe? That's how much energy is there. I said, well, why don't I feel it? If it flowed through you, it would blow up because you have blockages. If you open up, the great ones, I can't talk about it. There are pictures we hang on the wall because you can get very, very high. You are a great being. So you start realizing, I am okay inside, but I've collected garbage like virus type things inside, all the bad experience I ever had. If you collect everything that ever bothered you, and you did, if you collect everything that ever bothered you in your life, you're going to be bothered. So let it go. Let it come up. Let go. Relax, release. Relax, release. Let go. And you'll get higher and higher, and it'll get easier and easier. And I always finish my talks. So far, we haven't even talked about high. We've talked about getting out of low. Okay? And what happens is, and the great masters will teach you, and you'll experience it, is at some point, the energy is not pulling you down. I'm going to cry. Now you don't realize it's pulling you down. It's always pulling you down. Problems with your heart, with the mind, with the world. You're always pulled down. At some point, enough energy will come up and you'll relax into it so much that it's pulling you up now. It's not pulling you down. The world can hardly pull you down. It's just this energy is so strong. It's just pulling you up. And then basically you realize this is beautiful and you're being pulled inside. And then eventually it's like intuitively it calls on you to let go. You used to let go of what's down there. Now you have to let go of yourself. You let go of your sense of individuality. Okay? I am pure consciousness. And it pulls you back into it. And Meher Baba, a great master, said the first time it happened to him is his consciousness was like a drop of water looking down at him. That drop fell into the ocean, but back behind when it pulled him up. If a drop of water falls into the ocean, can you find it? That's called merger. That is what yoga is. It's called union, merger, oneness, the absolute, and you are that too. And who told you that? Christ. He literally said, as I sit by the throne of my Father, that's not a throne and a seat. It's a state of consciousness. As I sit by the throne of my Father, so you shall sit by my throne. And these things that I do, you should do these and even greater things. What's he telling you? You're that. He's telling you who you are. The trouble is you're looking down instead of looking up, back into the self. All right, thank you. Jagradev.